What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, and I always say that, but I wanted to today talk about my reflection of my second year as well as the past quarter that just went by, which was my summer quarter as a third year. So let's get started. So second year, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what I discussed about in my last video, in my fall reflection video. But a lot of my classes of second year were diagnoses, labs that you would run to confirm those diagnoses, science courses that were more in terms of dysfunction in the body, so pathology, infectious disease, immunology. I also had a lot of courses that pertain to our naturopathic medicine, so I had a lot of physical medicine classes where I did a lot of muscle energy stretching, as well as I learned how to do adjustments in the spine areas, which were crazy, but it was really cool. I also learned about botanical medicine a little more in depth and being exposed to different herbs and plants that can have a lot of benefits to our body, and learning about different properties, as well as pharmacology and a lot of other classes. So it was very action-packed. I don't know if this is true, but I remember back in undergrad, second year was known to be the hardest year, and I feel like that applies to medical school as well, in terms of this year was hell. Like hell. It was very action-packed. I really felt like my head was going to explode from all the information that I was getting from these classes, but they were definitely interesting, some more than the other. Yeah, it was hell. It was hell. But I'm really happy that I got through the year. It was definitely hard and challenging. I also thought I was gonna lose my sanity, which I feel like at times I did, but I made it through and if it hasn't been for my friends, especially my group of friends that I hang out with and study with, we always help each other the best way that we can. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I would be here. It was challenging, and it's almost like testing you in terms of, do you have what it takes to get through? And as challenging as it was, we all got through, and I'm so grateful for that. Now, what else happened in second year is the spring quarter of that year, when you're about to go into your third year, we have something called clinic entry exam, where as third years, we're allowed to be a student clinician in the clinic. But to be able to show that you have what it takes to be a student clinician, you have to go through the clinic entry exam. I don't know why I recorded it. It's a real thing. The clinic entry exam. Basically, how it's set up is that you are given a case where you have, a patient with this kind of chief complaint, little details and the vital information of the patient, and you and the supervisor go into a clinic room where there's a mock patient. So it's a person that the school hired to be pretending to be a patient, and at this point, the person is well prepped in terms of what their case is and what they have to kind of pretend to have. If he has stomach pain, he would have to be ow, it started a couple days ago, yada yada yada. And for our students, when we go in, we have 10 minutes where we have to, I think 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, where you go in and you do a full intake, asking your history of pertinent information, review of system, all the histories, social, past medical, family history. And once you have what you think you need, you have to perform pertinent exams, physical exams on the patient. So my case was somebody had the condition that they had, later I found out, is angina. And so angina is basically kind of like chest pain. Not really known cause of angina. A lot of times it's exercise induced or stress induced and things like that, but yeah, so my case was angina. So when I was going in to my clinic entry, it was this person of this age, chest pain started a couple days ago, something vitals. And so I go in and I just interviewed the guy, saying, when did it start, you know, what's the characteristic, how long does it last, have you tried anything that helps or makes it worse, so on. And you know, in medical school, like anything heart related, anything chest pain related, they tell you you have to rule out myocardial infarction, which is basically heart attack. So in my head, it's like, oh my god, this guy has a heart attack. But at the same time, we were prepped in terms of different prep classes run by a fellow upperclassman, saying that, you know, you do have to rule out those emergency kind of situations, but you're never going to get a condition that's an emergency. So for me, you know, I was just like, oh my god, I gotta rule out heart attack. And I had all these different differential diagnoses going on, and I was trying to rule in and rule out them, you know, but for some odd reason, angina was not sticking to my head. Even though it was on my differential diagnoses, I, for some reason, like, could not make the connection that this was like straight up classic angina case. But at the end of the session, I was just like, I'm gonna go with angina, because he literally has nothing else going on in terms of matching the other differential diagnoses that I had. Which in my case, my stupid brain, I had a brain fart, you know. I got the answer right, but I just couldn't make the connection for some reason. But, you know, it was a good experience, but it was just super nerve-wracking for a lot of us, and you know, we made it through. So yeah, that was clinic entry. Outside of classes, my mental and emotional health depleted, like, so much. It was crazy. I had a lot of breakdowns. I felt like I was going crazy. I felt like I wanted to cry all the time. And you know, there was a lot of moments of like, you want to give up, but it's just a lot of roller coasters. And I feel like I'm just never going to get used to the weather here, because I see that the weather in Seattle really, really affects me, and it sucks. I don't want to be having to have weather like that affect me, but I'm just trying to manage it as much as I can. I also tried dating. It was interesting. You know, I tried really hard not to really get involved with relationships, because my priority being here is school. But at the same time, it doesn't, you know, I came to the conclusion that I don't need to exclude out dating just for that reason. So I've tried dating apps. Haven't really had great of a luck, and I don't know, like for a while, like I didn't really want to get into relationships, also because I found out one of my exes cheated on me. Backstory is one of my exes cheated on me when we were still together, but didn't tell me until after we became exes. So I kind of had this whole thing of like, men are trash, like you can't trust them. No offense to any men out there, but you know, I just didn't really, I felt like my heart wasn't in it after that. But I think after a lot of self-care and, you know, healing with time, I felt like it was time to kind of venture out. So that's why I went for a dating app. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with wanting company and like a best friend, a romantic best friend that you want to live out your life with. And just because I am in school doesn't mean I can't do anything outside of school. And it's like another opportunity to kind of get to know another person and get to find things about yourself, how you deal with in relationships with this person and how you problem solve, and it's a new adventure. I'm just gonna put it at that. So what I learned, bottom line lesson learned, is I am someone who needs myself time. Like, I need my own time. So self-care is very, very important to me. And I'm trying really my hardest to make that happen, that I allocate some time for myself. So yeah, that was second year, basically, in a summary. And any of you current naturopathic medical students or regular medical students, or people who are interested in regular or naturopathic medical students, or just graduate school in general, it's not hard. In terms of, it's not impossible. It's challenging, it's tough, especially you have to organize a lot and really be on your own shit to get through. But once you do, I feel like it's not impossible at all. And make sure that you have a good support system around you, people who you can depend on and turn to when you need advices or stress relief or whatever. It's really good to have community around you. Summer quarter as a third year. Oh my god, so much better. Regularly through the actual like fall, winter, spring quarters, we have 24 to 28 credits. And they all like depend on the quarter, but you know, it's in the high 20s. Summer quarter, it's half the amount of units, credits. So I think I was only taking like 12 or 14 units this quarter, which seems a lot, but compared to what we're used to with the whole 20 something unit credits, this was nothing. Classes were interesting. We were getting into, you know, botanical medicine formulations, which was my favorite class, because we were just formulating different herbs together for different conditions and actually having to do it and tasting it, or feel, you know, putting it on ourselves. And I like hands-on things. We also had medical procedures class where we learned how to do injections and IV therapy. It was just kind of like a lot of like logistics and kind of like a random combination of classes, but yeah, it was not bad. The only thing about summer quarter though is you have to take NPLEX 1 after you finish, anytime after you finish your basic sciences courses. So for me, that was this summer. So NPLEX 1 is basically USMLE of conventional medical school exam thing that people have to take, where it's just everything that you learn from basic sciences, all the structure and function, you know, just like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell or whatever, to diseases and pathologies that we learn in our second year. So it's just everything combined into case-based multiple choice questions, and this was like a 6-hour exam, and oh my gosh, it was just kind of a hassle trying to enjoy summer, especially, you know, with summer in Seattle, you're actually having nicer weather, so you want to go out and play, but you also have some classes that you have to kind of be responsible for, and then you have to be responsible for self-studying for these NPLEX 1 exams. So it was still a lot going on, but you know, I just got my result a couple days ago and I passed, and I'm just very happy that I passed, and I don't have to think about it ever again until I have to take my second NPLEX after I graduate, which will be another story. But even then, even though there were a lot of stuff going on in the summer quarter, I still had some free time. I went hiking a lot. I traveled to Dallas for a integrative medicine mental health conference with my friends, and it was super inspiring and awesome and educational. I also went back home for a weekend for my mom because it was her birthday, and I surprised my parents by lying to them that I was coming later and came home early. And I also had time to hang out with friends. So summer quarter was the first quarter that we as student clinicians got to be in the clinic. So I had only one shift this quarter, and it was a regular patient care shift, and I was a secondary clinician to my primary clinician. So this was an upperclassman, and she's basically the one in charge of doing the whole intake and the visit, and I'm basically her assistant, trying to help her out as much as I can. My job most of the time was taking the patient in from the waiting area, introducing them to the clinic and taking their vitals and just checking some documentations with them, you know, medications, allergies. And once I'm done with that, like, the student clinician, my primary clinician, comes in and takes control of the visit, and then the overseeing supervisor comes in at some point in the visit to introduce himself and check in with the patient, but kind of lets the primary student clinician lead the entire visit, going from all the intake to treatment plan. So it was super cool. So that's basically my reflection of second year and summer quarter. And, you know, next Monday, which is literally in, I think, like 3 days, I start my third year. I mean, technically my summer quarter was the start of it, but, you know, academic calendar wise, this is like the first day of third year. And I'm super scared and super excited at the same time, because third year is where we learn about treatments and how to manage conditions and kind of tying everything in together. So it's almost surreal, you know, that you're on this journey, but the first 2 years was just packed with, you know, basic sciences and things like that. And now you're kind of jumping into like, no, like, this is real. You're gonna be a doctor, so you better know these treatments and you better know all these protocols and things like that. So it's scary because you don't wanna mess up. Like, this is your future career. So I'm super excited and super scared, but I know I can do it. I know I have so many amazing people in my life, my family, my friends, who are cheering me on. And, you know, I'm doing it not just for myself, but for them, for being by my side, believing in me when I'm not even believing in myself. And, you know, I just want to be a damn good doctor. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching me rant. I feel like it's like ranting even though it's reflecting. But thank you so much for watching, even though I am super bad at making videos and uploading it. But for those who always stick around and watch my videos, thank you. Thank you for all your support and all your love. And please comment down below on things you would like to hear from me, to see from me, any questions regarding naturopathic medicine or the school or medicine in general. What's it like being a medical student? You name it. Honestly, it's not just confined to medical school things. Like, anything, just go down below. Alright, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.